This is a quick walk around of my 2008 Acura TL that we have up for sale. I wanted to give you guys a shot of it in the garage. This is where it has been garage kept for the past 4 years. We've owned it for 4 years now. And we garage keep it exclusively. And my wife became a stay-at-home mom almost a year ago. And so for the past year, it spent most of its life in the garage unless my wife needed to run around town. So it's a very good car, and I wanted to give you guys a quick look. It's been sitting in the garage for, I guess, about 2 days now, and I haven't started it at all. It's about 60 degrees outside right now and sunny, but it hasn't started in 2 days, and I just want you guys to see how reliable and how dependable it is. So you can see it's bone cold. And it always fires up every single time. You can see it's still cold. That exclamation is because I have the door open. So it has 195,000 miles on it. I would not hesitate to drive it across the country right now if I needed to. This has been my wife's car for the past 4 years. She's driven it exclusively. As you can see, we have a little baby girl. And I have kept it in amazing running order. As soon as any little thing goes wrong on it, I fix it. I'm a mechanic. I did it for 10 years professionally. And then I graduated college and changed to an engineer. So I worked as an automotive mechanic for 10 years, and then I became an engineer, and I've been doing that for about 10 years now. And you can see I basically have a shop in my garage, and so any little thing goes wrong with it, I replace it. And I'll go over all the details of everything that I've just replaced on it over the past, I guess, about a year. So I just want to get it outside so you guys can see all the way around it. You can see the interior is not perfect. You know, there's some stains on the floor. The seat is starting to wear a little bit. But you can see the seats are in very, very good condition. As a matter of fact, the seats were actually just recovered right before I bought it. This is the biggest flaw with the interior. I'll pop the trunk so you can see inside the trunk. It has a cargo net, and it has the Acura floor mat for the trunk. It has all of the spare tire stuff. It has the wheel lock. That spare tire has never been on the ground. It has all of the tools. Get a quick look. We haven't washed it in a couple of weeks. These were here whenever I bought it. The guy backed into a ladder of some kind. I took the license plate off just because I don't want everybody in the world seeing my license plate, but you can see it's in decent shape. Not perfect. Little scratches and stuff here and there, but it's in really good condition considering it's 2008 and it has that many miles on it. The headlights were actually starting to kind of yellow. I polished those, I guess about a year ago, so they look brand new again. Little chip right there, but these are actually glass. They're not plastic, but it still works. You can see the wheels are in decent shape, not perfect. Again, it's not a perfect car, but everything works on it. So the only thing that does not work is the Bluetooth. So it will connect and everything in the car works, but there's actually a module right here that was a very common problem on these Acuras that fried. And it was going to cost me $300 to buy the module itself and then put it in. And my wife and I just didn't care enough about it. But the AC works perfect. I've actually just replaced like everything in the AC system about a year and a half ago. So AC, heat works fine, the auto mode, and then it has a dual mode. Stereo works. It has a Bose like 12 speaker system in it. I think it has a 6-disc CD changer that still works. The disc changer works on it too. I think the most we've ever had in there is 3. I have no idea if the tape player works. We have never used it. But you can see the CD player works, which we actually don't use that much. What we mainly use is this auxiliary cord. It actually goes through the center console rest. Oh, it's got a change collector in it. So it goes down through there. And then here's the little cubby compartment. And it actually plugs in down here. It actually has a cigarette lighter in here, which I had a USB converter in. And that works. Cup holders, cruise control works, steering wheel controls work, high beams, low beams, the interior dimmer, blinkers, everything works. The traction control works, the mirrors, you can see. And it actually has this feature where if I put this on left and then I put it in reverse, it'll angle down so you can see if you're going to hit a curb. Then when you put it in drive, it goes back. To turn that off, you just have to do that. It has heated mirrors, which they work. Sorry, I got this out of there. Put that back. I'll pop the hood. Oh, memory seats. It has memory seats. That I'm already on memory 1. Memory 2. Oh, that's my wife's setting. No wonder I'm going so close. It does not have an electric steering wheel, but it does have a telescoping steering wheel that has a little lever that locks in place down here. This locks it in place, but that works just fine. It has power front seats, and you can see they all work. I'll show you the windows in a minute. It has a automatic moonroof. It does work. It does not leak. Vanity mirrors with lights. Vanity mirrors with lights. It has a built-in remote control for the garage doors. And I'll show you. Here's my garage door. It works just fine. We have them programmed to our garage door. Let's go outside and look at the engine. I actually replaced these when we first bought it because those were bad. I just put a brand new battery in it. I've put a new radiator in it, a new thermostat, a new air freshener, new spark plugs, new power steering pump, new water pump, new alternator, new AC condenser, new timing belt, new water pump. It had a sensor, I think it was this sensor, that was triggering the, what do they call it, tighten the fuel cap, but I replaced that. And I have receipts for all of them. They all have lifetime warranties on them. The battery obviously has like 5-year warranty, but I have all of my receipts saved. We just had a windshield replaced in it a year ago. I just put brand new windshield wipers on it. What happened was when I was putting the windshield wipers on it, I let this go and it cracked the windshield. So it has a brand new windshield in it. The other thing is I just put a $600 or $700 set of tires on it. They have, I think, 5,000 miles on them. They have quite a bit of tread depth. And I put all 4 matching all the way around. And it has, which I forgot to show, Acura safety, it won't do stuff with the door open. So it has, the hands-free link doesn't work, keyless memory settings does, trip works. It has the tire pressure monitoring system. They all work, and they've worked flawlessly since we've got them. What I did when I replaced the tires is these are actually metal valve stems. And what I did is I replaced the rubber seals in all of the valve stems, so they're going to be good for another 10 years or whatever. It has good brakes all the way around. And it has cool little features like this. So if I press, actually let me get out of the sun. If I press the unlock button and then hold it, it'll roll all of the windows down, and well, you only get one shot at it, and it will open the moonroof. Why do you need that? On a hot day, when you're walking up to the car, if you just do that, it'll cool it off really, really fast. It's incredible how much that helps on a really hot day. It has satellite radio, which still works on it. We had it for like a month, I think, when I first bought the car, because the guy who had it before us, he had satellite, and then it expired, and we didn't care. Like I said, most of the time what we use is either a CD or that audio. Actually, I listen to my Bible on app every morning. I've been driving it for the past 2 weeks because we just got that. It's the only reason I'm selling this. But I've been driving it the past 2 weeks back and forth to work, and I use my Bible app and I listen to it through the speakers. It's just an amazing car. We've had like, I haven't really had trouble out of it. I replaced a bunch of stuff on it because it was time, like the water pump started leaking. And whenever I replaced the water pump, I replaced the timing belt, and I replaced the power steering pump. Because I was already in there, I already had to take all that stuff off. Then the AC stopped working, and I thought it was the AC compressor, so I put a new AC compressor on it. And whenever I was in there, the radiator just looked kind of ratty, so I replaced the radiator. And it wasn't the AC compressor, it was actually just a relay. But I went ahead and replaced the AC compressor, all of the valves and all that stuff inside there, and put brand new Freon in it. Just because I wanted to make sure, like I said, this is my wife's vehicle, and for the past almost year, she's been driving around in it with my daughter. And I want to make sure it's 100% and I never have to worry about anything. So I have personally maintained it. The only thing anybody has ever done to it that I did not do was the windshield and an alignment. Everything else, I have personally turned every bolt, torqued every bolt, done every seal myself, because I don't want my wife to ever have any trouble out of it. It's never broken down on her. The reason I put an alternator and battery in it is because one time when I was on a business trip, she actually drove it home and it just died in the driveway, and she didn't know why, so she called me. And so what she did, she just drove my truck around. And whenever I got back, it was the alternator. So I went ahead and put a new alternator, new serpentine belt, and a battery, just to make sure it was 100%. And those are only like a year old. I've got the receipts for all this stuff that have all the dates. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on my car lift, and I'm going to show you guys underneath, and you can see no rust, no leaks, no nothing. It's flawless. It's been an Arkansas car its entire life. I actually have the Carfax on it. I ran a Carfax on it right before we bought it. So I have the Carfax on it that shows all of the history up until we bought it. But I'll put it up on the lift. And the absolute only reason we're selling it is because the car seat, we've dealt with it for the past 8 months. And we actually have to put our car seat in the middle of the back seat. And then I still have to scoot my seat forward. And we've been dealing with it for 6 months or 8 months or so, ever since my daughter was born, and we just can't stand it anymore. And so I've been saving up money, and I bought myself this thing, which is used, and that's the only reason I'm selling that, is because we wanted a bigger car. We're about to adopt a second one, and we just needed more space. That was it. That's the absolute only reason. I put the new tires on it, I guess about 5,000 miles ago, back in February, and this is April, so they're 3 months old. But I did it because the tires were starting to get a little bit worn, and I didn't want my wife and my daughter driving around on old tires. So I just replaced the tires, and I'll just eat the $500 or $600 or whatever, because I'd rather my wife be safe. So let me put it up here on the lift. I'll show you underneath, and then we'll go over the records I have for it. If you lock it with this key, and then unlock it, and then open the door, it'll change the memory setting for your remote. So that's setting 1. This one is my remote. And obviously this is my wife's remote. So we'll close it. Lock it. Now unlock it. And then when you open the door, it moves everything to whatever setting your key is, which the Yukon doesn't even have, which I'm kind of annoyed. It has memory seats, but you actually have to push the button in there. But anyway, I just wanted to show you that quick feature. It's just one of the nice things about owning an Acura is it's got all kinds of little things like that. All right, so we're gonna go underneath, and you can see mufflers in good shape. They're not all rusted out and falling apart. They haven't been backed into and dented in some way. So as the factory tips, you can see everything for the suspension. Nothing leaking for the brakes. Just overall really good shape. Charcoal canister, brake lines, fuel lines, still in really good shape. I've been in a lot of, as a mechanic, I've been underneath a ton of these kind of cars, these Accords and Acuras and stuff that have a lot of miles on them, and they still work. But then everything from here back is covered in oil because it's got some kind of leak and the owner never fixed it. But you can see it's just normal road grime underneath here. Part of the reason nothing is rusted is these Acuras, everything is aluminum. They have a ton of aluminum stuff, so nothing really rusts. A little bit of just schmutz around the oil. And that's because no matter how hard I try, when you change the oil, oil just kind of drains down right here on top of that subframe. And no matter how hard I try to clean it, it just kind of, there's always a little bit of oil residue. Catalytic converter's still in good shape. You can see it hasn't like run into anything and damaged the subframe. All the little plastic pieces are still in place and still in good shape. You know, all of the different coolers that it has are still in good shape. You can see it's a little bit of a low car, so it has some scrubs right there, but you can't see them. I mean, you guys saw I just did the walk around. You can't see those scrub marks whenever you're in the car, or I'm sorry, whenever you're up high and you're just looking at the car. So up underneath it, you know, CV boots, good shape. That's one of the other common things that go wrong with these. The drive axles are perfect. I mean, there's just no leaks to speak of other than a normal amount of grime and schmutz from oil changes. So that's a good look underneath the car, so you know exactly what you're getting into. So I wanted to walk through you guys all the maintenance records that I have on it. I still have the original owner's manual and all of the documentation that it comes with. And then here's the maintenance journal. You can see it's been kept up with for the majority of its life, not 100%. And I thought we've had it for 4 years, and looking back at the documentation, we've only had it for 3 years. We actually bought it in 2016, but and you can see I've kept up the maintenance journal. Every time I've worked on it, I've written it down. We actually bought it. It had 151,000 miles on it. And you can see I bought it in April, and then in May I did its first oil change. And I always notate, I put new tires on it as soon as we bought it too. So this is the second set of tires it's had. I always notate what type of oil and what type of filter I put in it and what mileage and all of that kind of stuff. Obviously I forgot the date on that one, but I actually keep up with, so water pump replaced, power steering replaced, thermostat. I usually put some kind of note as to why I had to replace it. Oil filters, so you can see I've changed it at regular intervals, and I always put high quality oil in it. It's probably going to be due for an oil change here pretty soon. Actually, I just changed the oil and I did not put the note in here. I need to update it. I actually just changed it about a month ago. I've got the receipt for that somewhere running around from AutoZone, but I've got all of the receipts for everything that's been done to it. Here's the AC compressor. You can see that was $350. So here's the tires I just put on it. I put them on in February. I can't remember how much they were. So they were $500, and they're 3 months old. Here's the windshield. No, that was the windshield the guy who owned it before us put in it. Where's the other windshield? Here you go. 2017. This is the windshield I had put in it. Power steering pump, thermostat, water pump, I put Honda power steering fluid in it. Just I've got receipts for just about everything I've done on it. Here is the Carfax. This is the Carfax from whenever I bought it. You can see it had 4 owners before me. So there was actually an accident reported, but it was a minor fender bender. It got rear-ended and it had a new bumper bar replaced, or bumper cover. The rear bumper cover got replaced. Yeah, here it was. Accident reported involving rear impact. Extensive damage reported. Airbags did not deploy. It was actually rear-ended. And what's weird is the guy I bought it from his boss. And I said it was an Arkansas car, but it was actually, it was bought in Georgia. But the guy I bought it from said that the company he worked for, some kind of financial company, they had a location in Georgia and Arkansas, and this lady drove it between Georgia and Arkansas all the time, and he actually knew the lady who owned it, and he bought it from his boss, and he actually told me the story about when it got rear-ended. He told me how it got those dents in there in the rear trunk deck also. So you can see it's just had no major incidents. That's part of the reason I bought it, was because there were no major incidents, and the one that was reported, the guy could report, or he could tell me the story, and I got underneath it and crawled around and everything, and there was no damage to the frame or anything. You guys just saw the underside of it. Trying to think if there's anything else that's... Oh, here's the battery. You can see the battery I bought from Walmart in 2017. So the battery's not even 2 years old. Here's where the seats got recovered. They got recovered in 2015, so the seats are about 4 years old. It had some motor mounts replaced as well before I bought it. Where is that? So it had an oil change, alignment. There was something in here about the seats. That's the alignment. He had almost all this work done at Christian Brothers before I bought it. So window tint was just replaced, 2014. Thought I had the receipt from where the seats were recovered. I think I've got that somewhere. Here it is. So it just I've got all the records for it. So you're getting a really, really good car. That's why I'm asking the price I am, because I've taken really good care of it. It's a really good car. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. If I didn't feel the need to keep an old pickup